Anchoring, the most powerful crystal PvP technique. Before the Nether update, players had to use crystals to blow up their enemies, where they would hit them up into the air and then quickly explode them and then pop their totems. But after the Nether update, they were given the ability to terraform, basically, and change their surroundings, which made for a much more complicated gameplay experience. Because now you could dig holes and hit people up onto ledges so that you can crystal spam, like that. But why is that so important? Why is the ability to just make a hole such a big idea? Well, the thing about anchors is they are much harder to counter than a crystal. For a crystal, you can just shield on the ledge and then place blocks in front of you. But those blocks can't help you if the player is continuously digging a hole under you and then continues to spam crystals. So this offered a whole new meta for crystal PvP, where instead of spamming D-taps, where you hit them and then place like 2 crystals fast enough to pop 2 totems, which means if they're only holding 1, they just die. Instead of spamming crystals, you spam anchors. And you can take even less damage from an anchor depending on where you stand, especially if you safe anchor. Well, if anchors are so great, why isn't everyone using them? Well, in my opinion, there are 2 big problems with anchoring. The first, probably largest problem, is that a crystal only needs like 2 key presses and then you can spam. But for anchors, you have to do 3 separate key presses every single time you want to anchor. Even worse if you want to safe anchor, you have to do 4. But with crystals, you just spam away. The second problem is that blast protection armor can kind of like 90% counter anchoring. So if you don't have blast prot, then 2 anchors and then you can keep spamming anchors and they pop every time, basically. But if you do have blast prot, they don't pop every time. So you have to spam faster and more if you want to keep popping them and keep them in an anchor combo. So now to actually discuss what I'm going to be doing in this video. I am going to attempt to find the fastest anchor players' keybinds. That is the goal of the video. It was not just an anchor tutorial. Before I actually talk about what I'm trying to find, I'm going to briefly describe what optimal keybinds actually look like. So you'll notice that all of these keys are relatively close, except for the number 5, I'll talk about that later, are close to my hand and WASD. That is because if you want fast keybinds, you can't be using basically anything that you have to reach your hand over the keyboard for. So that's why XCV and F, and F are being used here for 6 through 9. 5 is kind of a bit of an outlier in this case. You have to stretch over the R key to reach 5. So instead of 5, you could use your side mouse button for that. These are my keybinds. They are Kirby's keybinds, except F just stays where it is, and 5 and 4 get shifted down from slot 8 and 9 to slot 7 and 8. That is because if I can anchor while moving, I'm bad at it though, so yeah, but I can move while I anchor. So these are like probably not the most optimal, but they are optimal keybinds for anchoring, because if you're fast enough, you can do that, and you can keep like wandering around the hole while you anchor. If you want to see that, then you can go watch Kirby's testing new keybind layout video. So what would optimal anchor keybinds look like? Well, you would need your 3 button presses to be on 3 different fingers. Because if one finger has to even press one extra key, that is time wasted from moving your finger from, say, the 5 key to the 4 key. So instead of 4, you could use something like a side mouse button. Subtle foreshadowing. So you can use different fingers for your anchor presses. Now, I don't have any practice with these, so I can't show like fast anchoring. But in the second anchor like speed video, you saw that he was placing very fast. Okay, so I forgot to mention this in the video, but the YouTuber is WASDBUNNY, W-A-S-D Bunny. Okay. So there's already just one glaring like thing about his key presses. You'll notice that, as I mentioned, you need 3 key presses to place the anchor, put the glowstone in the anchor, and then pop it with his totem slot, or empty in this case, but that his totem would be there. But he's only using 2 fingers on the side. So what would his keybind, his third keybind for totem be? Well, it would have to be a side mouse button, because he is like moving his camera while, oops, okay. He's moving his camera while still pressing the thing, so obviously he's not putting his right hand on the keyboard too. So I'm going to stare at this until I figure out which 2 buttons here he's using, and then the third one will be obvious, because it's side mouse button and it's the 5th slot. So, see you there. Well, it was worth a shot. Anyway, what I found is that his keyboard looks pretty similar to this one. The only inconsistency is that here, these like 2 glowy thingies, they're like, they look kind of next to each other, but on here, it's on top of each other. So I'm going to keep hunting for a keyboard that has these next to each other. If not, I'll assume that he has some sort of compacted keyboard that doesn't include the squiggly, that thing, under the escape key. Okay, so I found, I just copied it, oops. I found a decently close match where it is next to each other, but it's not FN. Like, I'm gonna see if there's some way to increase the quality of this, maybe get a better screenshot from YouTube. But if not, then I'm just gonna go off of this and assume that he's pressing 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and the number 4, and then a side mouse button. Okay, so I use the highest video quality, and it definitely looks much clearer. However, I think that some of the like clearness that we got from the quality was lost from taking the screenshot. So I'm gonna try identifying one of these keys. I'm pretty sure this is the escape key. I don't think that there's a keyboard where the escape key isn't right there. If there is, then that might make this process easier. So I'm going to try identifying one of these, maybe through the use of the video as well. If he presses W, then I'll definitely be able to figure it out by like counting distance between the glowy areas. Okay, so about the escape key, I didn't find anything useful, but I did notice that there was a part where he pressed W on his keyboard to move forward. So I'm going to try finding that. Okay. Let's go back a little bit, and we're going to set the playback speed all the way down. Okay, that's his W. Oh, he's not using the number keys, and he doesn't have FN on his keyboard. Well, what's that key over there? Is that R? Is he using R? W, that's Q. I 100% know that. That one's E. That's R. Wait. W, E, R. Then we go down. He uses Q, F, and a side mouse button to anchor. I thought it was going to be 1 and 4, but I'm completely wrong. It is Q and F. Okay, so now that I know that, I'm going to spend the next, I don't know, like 20 minutes trying to create a good layout for utilizing Q and F as, I can't count, 7 and 6, and then a side mouse button for 5. And then I'm going to create a hotbar, like a nice organized hotbar using that. Okay, so I'm just going to start with quickly. I'm going to use the left shift. That. Okay, so these are the keybinds. 1 is for sword, 2 is for gaps, side mouse button 4 is for pearls, left shift for utility, side mouse 5 for totem, and then F for glowstone, Q for anchor, C for X for obsidian, and then C for crystal. And then this is the inventory layout for 369 for 13 totems. Oh, would be 14. That would be there. And then extra pearls could be up here. You would have much more slots to play around with for like XP and stuff. But yeah, I guess that's just the hunt for the keybinds over. Those are the best anchor keybinds. I'm trying to time it so that you can like. Oh, okay. I don't have any muscle memory practice for like being able to butterfly click while pressing the totem thing. So I don't think I'm actually gonna be able to like. Yeah, I was not pressing the totem that entire time. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to actually like show the speed of the keybinds because I'm just not like. I don't have the muscle memory for it. And I'm also happy with 5 and 4. I can't crystal spam on high ping. So mine work best for me. If you want the most optimal anchor keybinds, then here you go. Make any edits that you need. That's it for today's video of the hunt for the most optimal anchor keybinds. Thanks for watching. Bye.